Tina and Steve are providing technical assistance. Thank you to our greeters and to Lynn Israel and Sophia Singleton who are helping with music. Please be aware we are recording this service and it will be posted on our YouTube page. For privacy, we do not record or post joys and concerns. Here at the Maumee Valley Unitarian Universalist congregation, our goal is to provide a welcoming space for people to come together to experience religious freedom, find a community, grow spiritually, and explore ways to make a difference in the lives of others. We draw on a wide variety of resources to provide stimulating and meaningful Sunday services. We encourage you to attend several services to gain a good understanding of who we are. For further news, please remember to read our weekly email, which provides comprehensive information about everything going on at MVUUC. Visitors, if you'd like to start receiving our weekly email, make sure to fill out one of the blue cards found in the seat back pockets and put the card in the box on the greeters table. Please take a minute to greet your neighbors. Hello, neighbor. I love your earrings. The chalice will be lit today by Susan Rogers. Thank you, Susan. Please join me in reading the words. Yes, thank you, Susan. Please join me in reading the words provided for you as we light the chalice. In these historic and uncertain times, we gather together to remember who we are. You're called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name. Now's the time for sharing of joys and concerns. Tina, please stop recording the services at this time. Okay, no. That's 10:52, the oneness of everything. Please stand as you are willing and able. Almost had it. Okay.
Grasp of hands, or light to meet the eye.
Today's opening words come from an article in Scientific American that illustrates sex variability through our own backyard visitors. It's springtime in your backyard. You watch a pair of little brown songbirds flit about, their white throats flashing in the sun. One of the birds has striking black and white stripes on its crown, and occasionally belts out its song, Old Sam Peabody, Peabody, Peabody. Its partner is more drab, with tan and gray stripes on its head and brown streaks through its white throat. Knowing the conventional wisdom about songbirds, that the males are flashy show-offs and the females more camouflaged and quiet, you decide to name the singer with bright plumage Romeo and the subtler one Juliet. But later that day, you notice Juliet teed up on the fence, belting out a song. Juliet's song is even louder and showier than Romeo's. You wonder, do female birds sing? Then you see Romeo bringing a twig to the pair's nest, hidden under a shrub. Your field guide says that in this species, the female builds the nest by herself. What's going on? Turns out, when you named Romeo and Juliet, you made the same mistake 19th century artist and naturalist John Audubon did, when in his watercolor of this species, he labeled the bright member of the pair male and the drab one female. Romeo might look male even to a bird expert such as Audubon, but will build a nest and lay eggs in it. Juliet, who might look female, has testes and will defend the pair's territory by singing both alone and alongside Romeo, who also sings. Juliet and Romeo are white-throated sparrows, and there's a scientific name that I am not going to attempt to read. At first glance, members of this species of songbird might look rather ordinary. For example, like many other songbirds, one member of each breeding pair of these sparrows has more striking plumage. That is, its appearance is what we would traditionally consider male-like for songbirds. The other bird in the pair is more female-like with drabber plumage. On closer inspection, white-throated sparrows are quite remarkable. If we were to assume that the brighter bird in each breeding pair is the male, we'd be right only half the time. In about 50% of breeding pairs of white-throated sparrows, the brighter bird has the testes and the drabber bird has the ovaries, in keeping with the typical songbird pattern. In the rest of the breeding pairs, however, the bird with the more striking plumage is the one with the ovaries, and the duller bird has the testes. Today we learned. And here to present our presentation is Kevin McCluney.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so we've got the presentation loaded. Is this it, or? Okay. I like to move around a little bit. I'm going to try not to make it too hard with the camera, so I'll try not to move around too much, but I don't like to be behind a podium if I can avoid it, actually. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what the real truth of biological sex is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about science today. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible, but as you'll see, it is an extremely complex topic. So first, a note about my expertise. I do have a PhD in biology. I am an associate professor of biological sciences. However, my expertise is ecology. It's not developmental biology or reproductive biology or any of those things that would be more closely aligned with this topic. So I'm not an expert in this particular area of science. So just want to clarify that at the get-go. I did get some slides from an expert. I tried to get that person to come talk here, but they were not able to. So, a few other important notes. I am focusing on sex, not gender. They're two different things, and today I'm focusing on sex. We've had some great presentations on gender in the past, and we probably will again in the future. There will be some descriptions of genitalia in the service. I do not have pictures, just clarifying. I will be sharing some transphobic language as an example, just a warning. Also, again, oversimplification of an extraordinarily complex topic. So I'm going to start with this. This is a recent executive order from the White House, defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Biological truth. So here's, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is a section of the executive order. And you'll see that in many places that I've highlighted here, we say, the biological reality of sex, repeatedly, biological and scientific terms, biological reality, biological facts. So, what does the science say? What is the actual biological reality of sex? Okay. My answer is, it is complicated. It is a very complicated topic. And just to sort of emphasize that, I have this slide that shows the complexity of this issue. This is showing how masculine or feminine sexual characteristics are influenced. You're going to see in a second, that's not just genitalia, that's lots of different things. And this is really complicated, right? Okay, I'm not going to go into all this complexity. I'm just going to give a little bit of information. Since I'm an ecologist, I'm going to talk a little bit about non-humans too. I'm going to start with non-humans and just give some interesting examples. Start with reptiles. Quite a few reptiles have what we call temperature-dependent sex determination. It means that whether they're male or female is dependent on the temperature of the eggs. So as you can see here, sex ratio percent male, at the hotter temperatures, you get more male, and at the cooler temperatures, you get more female. So in nature, there's a lot of variation out there. It's not necessarily what we think of. Another example, there's intersex birds. This is a particularly striking example where this bird is half male and half female. The red side is the male and the brown side is the female. They have a different sex determination than we do. Instead of XY, it's ZZ or ZW. Okay, so not everything uses XY. In this case, it was probably fertilized by a second sperm. In birds, each cell makes its own decision on sex. Okay, so it's not kind of like in mammals. That's sort of the next point. It's not possible in mammals. Hormones play a larger role, but this is an example of what can happen out there in nature. This was our opening words about this particular species of birds, and I think the opening words described it pretty well already, but it's really complex, right? Where the sexual characteristics of the bird are not simple. It's complex determination, and the male is not always brighter in color. Sometimes it's the female. Fish. There's about 500 species of fish where whichever male is the largest in the population will turn into a female. There's just, yeah. Whichever, so you can have this whole population of male fish, and the largest one will turn into a female. Turn into. They will change from male to female over a short period of time, yes. Yep. And they'll start being reproductive. Yep, about 500 species of fish. So there's a lot of variation out there. Why does this non-human variation matter? I am going to get to human in a minute, but why am I even talking about this? Well, arguments for defining only two immutable and non-changing sexes focus on what is natural, okay? There is substantial variation in nature, as we just saw, right? It's not cut and dry. This variation, also, I'm going to point out, this variation is important and necessary to produce our current world. Without this variation, we would not have the diversity of life on this planet. This variation is necessary for evolution to produce diversity. Okay, switching over to humans. What about humans? Variation also exists. And again, it's really complicated. So I'm going to use this slide to kind of go through some of it, but I want to point out something right from the get-go. that there's different aspects of sexual characteristics, of human sexual characteristics, and they can differ from one another. They don't always all match. So what are those aspects? We can talk about chromosomes, we can talk about gonads, hormones, secondary sex characteristics, external genitalia, internal genitalia, gametes, gene expression, brain structure, and hormone receptor sensitivity. All of these things. I'm not going to talk about all of them today, but I'm going to talk about a few of them. Let's just start with chromosomes. There is natural variation in human sex chromosomes, just to start with that. The most common situation that is among the human population is having 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes, okay, and having XX or XY sex determination. But you can also have 45 chromosomes, be missing a second sex chromosome, just have one X, and that's can be called Turner syndrome. You have 47, where you have 3 X's, okay? You can have 47 with 2 X's and a Y. What sex is that, right? Okay. You can have 47 with 1 X and 2 Y's. You can have 48 and have 4 X's, or 3 X's and a Y, or 2 X's and 2 Y's, or you can be 49 and have 4 X's and a Y. There's other combinations too. There's a 5X one, and there's other things that I left out here. But this is just to illustrate that there is a lot of variation, even just in sex chromosomes, okay? Importantly, you don't have to understand the details of this slide, but importantly, there's something called the SRY gene on the Y chromosome, usually. We're going to talk about that in a second. So here's a Y chromosome. This is what the chromosomes would look like when they're lined up during mitosis or certain stages of meiosis, so it's a cell division. And you can have a section of this chromosome that has this SRY gene. The SRY gene is important for making testosterone and responsible for masculinization, okay? So this is a really important chromosome that's typically on the Y. However, some interesting things can happen. It does look like the text got a little messed up with the transition, but this is one thing that can happen when cell division occurs, is the chromosomes line up, and sometimes because they're right next to each other, they can actually exchange DNA with each other. This is called crossover. And this is a situation, here's an X chromosome, here's a Y chromosome, they're lined up during cell division, and you can see that they've crossed over right here, okay? So a little section of the Y chromosome has jumped onto this X chromosome, and a little section of the X chromosome has jumped onto this Y chromosome. Okay? The cells that inherit one of these chromosomes could have a section of X or a section of Y on the opposite chromosome. In this situation, this is what happens most commonly. This red band represents the SRY gene, and it's not being transferred over to the other chromosome. However, sometimes that crossover occurs below the SRY gene, and the SRY gene, which is responsible for masculinization, jumps onto the X. And the Y loses that SRY gene. So you get a situation where you have an X chromosome with that SRY gene that produces testosterone and masculinization, and you also, it doesn't show it up here, you also have a Y chromosome without the SRY gene, okay? So SRY crossover, what does this mean? It means that you can have X chromosome with SRY gene and be XX, but have completely masculine characteristics. You can be XX and have completely masculine characteristics. You can be XY, but have completely feminine characteristics. Interesting, okay. So that's just a little bit about chromosomes, okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit about gonads, internal genitalia, and external genitalia. SRY gene is really important for influencing these, for the internal and the external genitalia. First, I want to start with this, because this is also, some of the executive orders seem to have missed this point, or some of the other legislation seems to have missed this point. Up to about 7 weeks, there's no difference. 7 weeks of development of an embryo, the gonads are indistinguishable. Okay? After about 7 weeks, so this is what we call a bipotential gonad before 7 weeks. After about 7 weeks, you get development of either the masculine Wolffian duct or the feminine Mullerian duct. And this is exposure to testosterone and estrogen are what influence its development. So this is internal genitalia that I'm talking about here. This is internal genitalia. So the internal genitalia are determined by exposure of these ducts to testosterone or estrogen. The external genitalia are also determined by testosterone and estrogen. But again, the balance between testosterone and estrogen is controlled by the SRY gene and other genes. And importantly, the SRY gene can cross over to the X chromosome. And I've left out a lot of complexity here, because there's other things that can happen that can cause a shift from internal genitalia being one thing to internal genitalia being another thing, and that can be different from external genitalia sometimes, because there's multiple genes involved in these processes and pathways that I'm going to leave out. Yep. Yes, so this is intersex, right? So we're talking about intersex individuals. So that's a little bit about internal genitalia, external genitalia. I want to move on to a little bit more about hormones, gene expression, and hormone receptor sensitivity. So this is sort of like another step down the road. Okay, we've got a situation where you have a SRY gene, you're producing testosterone, you have potential for development of these organ systems, but other things can happen. So this is androgen insensitivity syndrome. There's a mutation that causes loss of the testosterone receptor. So you're producing testosterone, but your cells can't perceive the testosterone. It's like it's not there. So you can be XY with substantial testosterone produced, but can't respond to testosterone, no receptor. So you have feminine characteristics. So this is a picture of people that are XY with feminine characteristics, despite producing high levels of testosterone. Their body just is insensitive to it. I even have testes usually, but look female, or feminine, I should say, rather than female. Note, we all have mutations. Every one of our traits and characteristics, your hair color, your eye color, everything else is a mutation. Okay, so when I say mutation that causes loss of testosterone receptor, that's the same as me saying, well, you've got a different color hair or eye color, okay? I'm not going to go into this diagram. I'm just going to say that there are many situations in which differences in hormone production or sensitivity to those hormones lead to differences between your chromosomes, your internal anatomy, and your external anatomy, okay? So, what about gender identity? I said I'm not really going to talk about that. I've got one slide on it. I just want to mention that we've had lots of other really good presentations on gender identity. I do want to just very briefly mention one study, one finding, or it's kind of a summary of findings about gender identity. Well, very little is currently known about this, first of all. It's an area of research, if it's funded by the federal government, that is. But we do have some research that suggests that gender identity is about 30% heritable, which is not a small amount. That's a pretty high level of heritability, but it's not 100%. So what this means is there's a complex interaction between genes and the environment that may influence gender identity. And that's a different thing than sex characteristics. Okay. So I just wanted to come back to this slide and just say, it's sex characteristics, human sex characteristics, extremely complex, and you can have differences in all these different things. I want to talk about a few final thoughts on sexual variation, human sexual variation. Many of these situations are what people would consider rare. However, when you add them all together, it's about 1.7% of the population. That means 2 out of 100 people. That's a lot. You're walking down the road, you probably pass a couple people like this, right? And it's actually roughly equivalent to the frequency of red hair in the population. Okay, so that gives you context, right? You know, we have some people in, right? So, and I want to make another point. Many of these people don't even know. Do you know what your chromosomes look like? I don't. Right? So, you don't know necessarily. Sometimes this results in infertility, not always, but infertility is actually very common in our population. 10 to 20% of the population, okay? And we shouldn't value people based on their ability to reproduce. That's ridiculous, right? So for somebody to like point at somebody who's intersex and be like, oh, you know, that's a horrible thing, right? Okay. And again, sexual variation is natural, not something people can choose, right? It's not a choice, and doesn't make someone any less human. Okay. So, the biological truth, okay, is that there is substantial variation in sexual characteristics. It's not just simple male and female. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. Thank you.
I love science. All right. Let us pause to honor the silences of the world as we enter a brief time of quiet reflection and meditation. All right, now it's time for our second musical selection, hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth in Your Gray Hymnal. Please stand and join in as you are willing and able. That's hymn number 21. For the beauty Okay, making sure I didn't lose my place. Now, let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this church, which is important to so many of us. We gratefully dedicate this offering to the good of the church, the wider community, and the world. If you make automatic pledge payments, please place one of the yellow cards indicating the support in the basket. If you want today's contribution to count towards your annual pledge, please put it in an envelope with your name on it on the front so that we know who to credit it to. Thank you.
Our closing words come from an article in the December's issue of Psychology Today by Dr. Monica Vilhauer. She explains a non-binary view, saying, "It's true that producing viable sperm or eggs is essential for direct reproduction. But evolution, as biologist William Hamilton demonstrated in 1964, isn't about direct reproduction alone. Instead, it's about passing on genes, your genes, whether through your own offspring or by helping your relatives who share loads of your genes. This groundbreaking idea, known as kin selection, rewrote the rules of evolutionary success. Think of evolution like competing in a triathlon or decathlon. Winning gold doesn't mean dominating every single event. It's about scoring enough points overall. Kin selection works the same way. You don't have to reproduce directly to pass on your genes. If your relatives thrive because of your efforts, you're still running for nature's ultimate prize, genetic immortality. Nowhere is this concept more vividly illustrated than in the collective lives of social insects. In a beehive, ant colony, or naked mole rat society, most individuals are unsexed, essentially intersex workers or warriors. They don't waste time reproducing. That job belongs to the queen. Her offspring carry not just her genes, but also the genes of her loyal, sterile workers who ensure the colony thrives. Birds and mammals play the same game along kin selection. For example, young birds often forgo breeding by themselves to help raise their parents raise siblings. Monkeys and apes cooperate extensively with close kin. Humans aren't all that different. Every time we chip in to help a sibling, set up a college fund for our kids, or scribble names into a will, we're playing the same evolutionary game. When seen through the lens of kin selection, biological sex chromosomes becomes more than a binary split between sperm producers and egg makers. Intersex individuals who may not produce viable gametes still contribute to the evolutionary game without direct reproduction. In this light, the strict male-female binary doesn't seem incomplete. It's even outdated.
Please join me in reading the words provided as we extinguish the chalice. Changes abound around us, within us, between us, in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we find the balance point we need as we move through our ever-changing world. The balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and the perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting. I was looking away and the chalice is extinguished. Fantastic job. Okay, before the music, which will close our service, we have time for a few brief announcements. Come to the podium if you have one to make. I'll go ahead and do a couple before I invite others to come up. First, I brought some zines, which are, if you've never heard the term before, they are small press, self-published little magazines on a couple of different topics. They are next to the greeters table outside if you're interested. The other thing is, as head of the Social Action Committee, there are a couple of new projects that I would love to work with folks on. The first being getting more LGBTQ books in libraries, including our own, as well as hosting a craft night. If you're interested in either of those topics, please talk to me at Social Hour. If anybody has any other announcements, please come forward.
I just wanted to let everybody know that next Sunday, May 4th, from 5 to 6:30, my daughter Angeles, who some of you have met, and myself will be hosting a free-form dance event. I'll just read what Angeles posted. That's probably the best thing. What to expect. To register, you send a text to a number if you want to contact me, and I'll give you the number. It's Angeles's number. This gathering is a prayer through movement, a means of connecting with Spirit through presence and flow. We begin with a sacred circle, communing and sharing from the heart. We move into an hour of free-form movement to an intentionally curated playlist. To close, we come back into sacred circle to share once again, if we feel called, and then end with a blessing prayer. Come to move, play, release, call in, create, express, and be. And then she goes on to say that this is a gift to everyone, but if anyone wants to donate to her existence, like food, water, her rent, you can make a monetary donation. But regardless of that, she encourages everyone to come join in, whether you feel you are a dancer or not. Where is this at? Right here. In this space, in this space from 5 to 6:30. So please come. It's fun. I've been to a couple of her events. One was a musical one where everyone played music and whether they were musicians or not, and she always hosts a good event.
This is an announcement, but I just, the closing words I think were good, but I have to add something. It sort of assumes that reproduction is somehow a goal that we all need to have. There are more than enough humans on this planet. That's a ridiculous goal. I just wanted to add that.
Hi, everybody. You might have noticed me sitting at the piano today. If you didn't read last week's email, shame if you didn't read last week's email. Not real shame, we're not Catholics. I am your new music coordinator. So for every service for the foreseeable future, I will be curating music for the services. So that's really exciting. A little bit of background on me. I have been a musician for most of my life. I started asking for violin lessons when I was 3. I am 24 now. I've been immersed in it for a really long time, and creating a safe and accepting spiritual space with music has become very important to me over the last couple of years. So I hope that I can extend that to the rest of you in what I'm doing with the church. That being said, I am also a little bit new to programming. So if anybody has any music that they really, really, really want to hear at church, come find me. Come talk to me. I will see how I can work it in. I also did get the survey that everybody filled out, which Lynn jokingly called the most Unitarian survey she's ever seen, and I am inclined to agree with her. We can't get a single opinion across the board anywhere, which is great, but also equally frustrating. So yeah, I'm in charge of music on Sundays, and I just wanted to make myself known to everybody.
There is an enhanced coffee hour this morning. We had a lot of things left from the blood drive. And they're all out there. There are some containers, so please feel free to take a lot of stuff home, because we really need to use it. Otherwise, it's just going to go in the refrigerator and die there.
Oh, yes. I'm Lynn Israel. Couple quick announcements. Sophia did not mention that she grew up Unitarian in Houston, Texas. Yay! And she also didn't mention that she has an actual degree in music. Is it music education or music performance? Music performance on the violin from St. Olaf College in Minnesota, which is a hotshot liberal arts college known for its music program. She graduated from there. So, yes. So, I mean, yes. And she's a singer as well as a violinist. So we're so lucky to have her.
Better on piano later than I was.
Make sure you fill out your carpet ballots if you haven't already. Put your name on them, please. Somebody filled one out yesterday at the blood drive and didn't put their name on it. Was it any one of you guys? No? Okay. Next question. How many of you have seen the movie Conclave? Oh, okay. Because I was going to sponsor a showing of it next Saturday if nobody had seen it. Because, heaven. Well, it's available on Amazon Prime. You can stream it free. But man, is it relevant to everything that's been going on this weekend here. I mean, it ties in it could not tie in any better than what's been happening here and what's been happening in the world, getting a new pope. So, huh? No, don't give away too much for those people who haven't seen it yet, but it is a fabulous movie. It should have been the Oscar-winning best movie. It should have been, definitely. So if you really, really want me to show this movie next Saturday morning from 10 to 1 with discussion afterwards and a potluck, let me know, because I will do it. One final thing. The Beyond the Binary conference that we had yesterday provided a list of terminology that relates to sex and gender. If you don't understand the difference between the two, and all the variations have names, this list, which is out on the music stand in the social hall, defines a lot of stuff for you that I did not know. Like, you don't call them hermaphrodites anymore, you call them intersex. There's some things I've learned, so help yourself to one of these terminology C's. So many announcements, I love it.
Steve Israel, longtime member. Today is Magic Day. Ruth, where's Ruth? Is Ruth here? Oh, she's there. There you are. Oh, there you are. You're going to be there, aren't you? Absolutely, absolutely. Something you may not know is that every member, every adult and child, everybody who shows up for magic class gets their very own bag of tricks. And this is the bag for today, and I was just looking inside it. Oh my gosh, are we giving away all of that stuff? I guess so. If you'd like your own bag, please come join us 1 o'clock in the social hall. Thank you.
One of the tricks that you're teaching today is that how to make popcorn pop without heat?
No.
Oh, okay. That's for the next
Or
time.
if you want to see how popcorn is popped without heat, do not expect that today. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully last group of announcements. Very important. Next week, May 4th, is our congregational meeting. I've already spoken to a couple of folks who are not going to be able to be here, and if that is the case, make sure you tell me so that I can get you an electronic ballot. Congregational meeting, just to sum it up, is a discussion of very important issues that are going to shape the next fiscal year at MDUUC, and so we will be voting on new board members, our budget for next year, which is really important, and also we're going to be voting on bylaw amendments, and so this is really vital to the running of our congregation and the democratic process that we so value in this. We are going to hopefully be able to send those out in the newsletter for next week. But regardless, of course, we'll review everything that we're going to vote on at the meeting. But we need a quorum, so please try to be here next week if you can. And if you absolutely cannot, please tell me, email me at president@mvuuc.org, and I'll get you an electronic ballot. A few folks have already done that. Thank you to you. Yes?
And a reminder that only people who have signed the membership book may vote.
Right. Members are defined, members are the only folks who can vote, and members are defined as people, I believe, who have pledged and signed the membership book, correct? Yeah.
Signing the membership book is crucial.
Yeah. Money or service, right. But we do. The meeting will be after service next week. Next week is also a potluck day. So we are, the board, we are discussing the possibility of maybe moving tables into the sanctuary so that we can eat as we talk, but we're not totally sure about that yet. So please just put that in your calendar and please plan to attend. May 10th, we're going to be planting our MVUUC garden. So May 10th at 10 a.m., if you want to help us clear out the beds, plant seedlings, it's not going to take too long. It'll be about an hour. Bring your sun hat and your work gloves, and we will provide everything else. And then lastly, looking a little forward into the future, June 28th is the BG Pride Rally, BG Pride Rally, June 28th, and we are participating this year. So if you want to help us table at the BG Pride Rally on June 28th, there will be an opportunity to do so. Look for information in your newsletter.
Yeah, I'll just add, as the chair of the membership committee, if you would like to become a member, you can do so. Just contact me. Again, you just need to pledge money or service and sign the membership book. And as a member of the nominating committee, there is still an opportunity. If anyone else would like to get involved in the leadership of the congregation, please let me know, and you can be added to the ballot for next week.
We are still collecting pledges. We didn't meet our goal, as you all know. I am still doing follow-up calling. There are people that I have not been able to reach who have pledged in the past, but I haven't been able to confirm that they are going to pledge again. If anyone here has not yet made a formal pledge or filled out a form, we have those forms out in the hallway, so please do that today. Thank you.
So much happening at the church. I love it. All right. Tina, are there any announcements from our online participants? Perfect. Okay. After our closing music, we invite everyone in person to stay for coffee hour. Thank you for joining us.
Can say you social police can just get out of my face, and my body was made. My body was made this particular way. Recurrent desire never totally tamed. Honey, I tried to explain it away, but my body was made. His body's a ship with an impenetrable hull. Shells lined up with animal skulls. It's making me feel an irresistible pull. His body was made. go our own way, and our body was made.